It's Monday, August 22nd, 2022, and this is episode 264 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Mike, have you done any gambling of any significance since we last talked?
No, not since we last were in San Diego.
Okay, you haven't been out to any of the other casinos or anything?
No, I've been busy here with a lot of home stuff and getting ready for my new job.
Oh, yeah? What are you going to be doing?
I'm going to be driving a van for the elementary school.
Oh, well, that should be good. Yeah.
Yeah, some kids that I have to pick up in rural areas and drive to school.
Uh-huh.
And then one little boy, I stay with him all day, and then I take everyone home afterwards.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, very good. All right.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, actually. I'm looking forward to it. It gives me something to do. Just means that there'll be no casino activity during the week.
Oh, okay. So only weekends.
Only weekends now.
Yeah. Sherry and I are thinking about heading up to Harrah's tonight. You know, they opened that new Hell's Kitchen up there.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't get a reservation. I guess if I went through a host or something and said, hey, I'm
Probably.
7 stars, but even so,
Yeah.
you know, it's only been open for a little while. I'd kind of like to wait for the bugs to get ironed out. You know, whenever something opens like that, there's going to be issues,
problems. Right.
So if we go up there, we may just eat at the Mexican restaurant or whatever. We're still kind of debating, but yeah.
It'd be good to just look inside and see what it looks like.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So it's supposed to be like the biggest Hell's Kitchen in the world now or something like that. So.
Yeah, that's a big draw. I want to eat at the biggest Hell's Kitchen.
It's like going to the biggest McDonald's. It's like, wow, this is great. I'll have one Big Mac, please.
I don't care how big a McDonald's there is. Nothing beats the Barstow McDonald's in the train.
Yeah, that is something. It's 24 hours a day. Remember when it burned? There was like a fire there was a drive-through, like a car caught on fire, and the restaurant ended up burning down. And it was such a moneymaker. I remember when they were rebuilding it, they had 3 shifts of 8 hours each. So they were, building 24 hours a day to get it built again. Yeah, it's kind of a landmark.
The best thing about that McDonald's is, number one, it's in a train. And number two, it means you're more than halfway to Vegas if you live in San Diego.
Right, that's the thing. So Barstow, so it's almost exactly the halfway mark between San Diego and Vegas. So yeah,
it's just a little past halfway if you're coming from San Diego, and a little short of halfway if you're going to San Diego.
Yeah, so it's nice. So when you stop there, it's like, hey, we're actually more than halfway to Las Vegas.
Yeah, we're more than halfway.
All right. Well, we got an email from listener Eamon. He had gotten an email from Caesars Entertainment, like a lot of us probably did, about the Caesars Sportsbook, the sports app. And there were some specifics in there about how you can earn reward credits and tier credits. And there was one paragraph that sort of caught his eye. I'll just read it verbatim here. It says, you will earn 1 reward credit for every $5 of potential profit on sports bets placed, with an earning maximum of 2 reward credits for every $1 wagered on sports. Okay, so that's a lot of words, especially to just be hearing on a podcast. But let's look at that first part there. You will earn 1 reward credit for every $5 of potential profit on sports bets. So that actually sounds pretty good when you just read that part. So let's
because if you made a big bet, you'd have a big profit and you'd get a lot of reward points.
Yeah,
that's what it tells me right off.
On like a long shot. So let's give an example here. Let's say you bet $10 on a plus 50,000 wager. So that's 500 to 1. We'll just say that. You're betting 500 to 1, $10 500 to 1. So your potential profit is $5,000 if that bet wins, which would seem like you'd get 1,000 reward credits, right? You get 1 reward credit for every $5 potential profit. In this case, potential profit of $5,000, so 1,000 reward credits.
Yeah, which would translate to $10.
$10, yeah. It's not nothing, but $10. Yeah. Well, it's that second part of the sentence, though, that's the real kicker. It says, with an earning maximum of 2 reward credits for every $1 wagered on sports. So in our example, you've wagered $10, so you're only getting 20 reward credits, which is 20 cents.
Which is 20 cents. So it goes from $10 to 20 cents.
in other words, once you get to a bet that pays 5-1, anything 5-1 or more, you're only getting 2 reward credits for every dollar you bet. And anything under 5-1, you're getting less than 2 reward credits for every dollar you bet, right? So, it's one of those cases where, it sounds like it's better than it is, and you got to kind of read the fine print. Plus, here's something else to keep in mind. Way back on one of our episodes, I think it was our friend Marty who found that when he was making wagers in Nevada through the Caesars Sportsbook, it was negatively affecting his ADT because he'd make a couple of bets on sports, and that was his, average daily theoretical for the day. It was bringing So I don't know if that's still an issue. We didn't believe it at first. I mean, not that we didn't believe Marty. We just thought, something must be up. Right, there's something we're missing.
Right, how could that mess you up?
Right, but once we dug into it, that was what was happening. So I don't know if that's still an issue, but that's also something to keep in mind that if you're using the Caesars Sports Bet, it might give you a small ADT that would affect overall. Hopefully they've fixed that.
So what you're saying, Mark, is that if you want to give Caesars sports betting money every day, potentially, they want to make it worse for you.
Yeah,
they want to downgrade you because you're supporting them.
Because you're supporting them. And
you'd be better off not to support them. You get more benefits that way.
Yeah. Or if you just bet a ton on sports, and I mean a ton.
Bet a ton. Yeah, you'd have to really bet a ton. Oh God. Kudos to the marketing person who wrote this, because they make it sound really good when it's not.
Yeah.
And then to hell with them also for writing this, because they're really screwing you.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sports betting, Mike, I don't know if you in Minnesota are seeing any of these ads for the sports betting propositions here in California. I know you have the MLB package. So do you see these ads when you're watching the Padre games at all?
You're right. I have seen it once or twice on a MLB app.
Okay.
You can choose the feed you want, and I get the San Diego feed.
Oh, right. Yeah. They're advertising quite a bit during Padre games.
It's funny because then the MLB app, some of the commercials are MLB and some are the local commercials for whatever you're watching.
Yeah.
So it just hit or miss, but I have seen a couple.
All right. So there are 2 propositions, 26 and 27. 26 is the proposition supported by the tribal casinos that would limit wagering on sports to in-person wagers, basically at the casinos and also at racetracks. And Prop 27 is the prop sponsored by like FanDuel and DraftKings, all the sports apps that want to be able to have online betting in California. And the emphasis of the ads right now, the ads, they're coming out. Obviously, they're spending a lot of money on these ads. I haven't seen ads for any other propositions in California yet.
Well, none of the other propositions are going to make money for some people like these 2 are.
Yeah. So it's Prop 27 that the ads are for or against. That's what they're going at right now. So the tribal casinos are saying, vote no on 27. All the money is going to go to these out-of-state online sports books. It's not fair to the compact that the state made with us. It's not fair. That's kind of the push behind their campaign.
Right. Now, and it's really tilted towards don't renege on the Indians again, kind of thing.
Yeah, that is kind of...
don't make promises to us again that you don't keep.
Right.
That kind of thing. And so pulling on people's hearts.
Yeah, and it's not completely true, but, what is in these political ads? Now, on the other side, the yes prop, here's what these online companies have done. Most of the Prop 27 ads feature tribal members from tribes that don't have casinos. They call themselves some of the poorer tribes that have not had the benefit of, the casinos. They're saying that Prop 27 would be better for them because they would get some money from the taxes generated by this. And also money would go to homelessness and mental health, that kind of thing. It's pretty smart on their part to have these tribes actually come out and say, hey, we're tribes. We're behind Prop 27. Now, how much money would actually go to these tribes if this passed is pretty unclear. And I'm guessing it wouldn't be a lot. They're getting money now, which is good. They're getting paid to do these ads right now.
And that's why they're doing it,
Oh,
right?
of course, right.
They're doing it because they're getting paid. So how much money goes to them? We have no idea.
Right. Taxes are going to be generated. Well, taxes,
Yeah, who knows where that goes?
Right. Yeah.
It's not like this tax is designated for these people.
Right. So, like all political ads, you're not getting the whole story, and maybe you're getting a story that doesn't really ring true, or, they're spinning it in such a way that,
right.
What they're saying and, what the truth is, maybe that's a little blurred. So, anyway, this will continue. It's just going to, we're going to get more and more of this. But right now, again, the tribal casinos, they're yes on Prop 26, no on Prop 27, and all the online companies like FanDuel and DraftKings, they're the opposite. Now, for those who aren't interested in sports betting, Prop 26 is the one that would allow real craps and roulette in the casinos. So just FYI, if that's what you care about, there you go.
You definitely want to vote yes on that.
Now, you would think that voting yes on Prop 27 would be better for sports bettors because they could do it online. Even though the anti-Prop 27, they're like, you could bet online. They're making it sound like this is the worst thing possible. Your phone becomes a betting device, right? Meanwhile, all the way across the rest of the country, our phones are betting devices. That's what we like about it. Moving forward, who knows if both pass? I'll probably vote yes on both of them. We'll see what happens if they both pass.
Well, that'd be the thing to do, right? Vote yes on both of them and see what happens when they pass.
And again, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's kind of analyzed what would happen if that's the case. And even though we're kind of talking about it with some knowledge, we're hardly experts. So as we get closer, we'll see.
Mark, it's so ridiculous. You don't know the truth. You're asked to vote on something where you can't even find out the truth.
You have to read the prop, and even then, some of it, you just wouldn't understand, or you don't have enough background to appreciate.
Right, or it could be something in there that some judge will find. Well, we can't do that, and so then it changes. It's just a mess.
All right, let's move on. We try to stay away from politics on this show, but obviously this is a case where it's of great interest to us at this point.
Yeah, I have to say one thing though. It's the lying I don't like, Mark.
You don't like that?
I don't like the lying.
Yeah, I don't either, Mike. I think you and I have established that.
That's Mark's favorite saying. I just want the truth. I don't like the lying.
I don't like the lying. And I'll say it when Mike just misspoke. It's not like he's
right.
You know what I don't like, Mike? I don't like the lying.
Yeah. I think we're at a casino and I say, that's like 3 9s in the last 5 rolls, and you'll say, I don't like the lying because it was like 2 9s or something.
Yeah, I just don't like the lying. It's
the lying he doesn't like.
Yeah. Find your own way home. All right, so let's move on to a more positive thing, that being our upcoming poker tournament. Oh my gosh, Mike, it's like 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away.
And there are no gimmicks. Everything is straightforward.
That's right. We're going to try to not lie to you when we talk about it. So, okay, this is going to be our 5th semi-annual You Can Bet on That poker tournament. It will be on Sunday, September 4th. That is the Sunday before the NFL season starts, just like we do every year, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. And just a reminder, it is No Limit Texas Hold'em. It's going to cost $20,000 play money chips to register. And again, you go on to PokerStars, which is the app that we're using to host it. Every 4 hours, you can get $15,000 in free chips for doing absolutely nothing. So you should have $20,000 to enter. Again, we're going to have 3,000 starting stacks, hourly breaks. If you're already in our PokerStars home game group, you can sign up for the tournament right now. In fact, you should have gotten an email from me saying that registration is open. If you're not yet in our group, send us an email at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com with your email address and your PokerStars username. We want to have a one-to-one correlation between your PokerStars name and email address so that we know you're really a listener. You heard about this legitimately. If you don't yet have a PokerStars username, just go to pokerstars.net, download the app, and sign up. It doesn't cost anything, and again, we'll be using their Play Money tournament option. First place, we're going to give away a $100 Amazon gift card. Second place, $50. Third place, $25, and also a $25 Amazon gift card for each of the players that eliminates me and Dr. Mike. Probably go for about 4 hours.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. And if you register for the tournament and it ends up you can't play, please unregister so that it makes room for people who are actually there. You'll just be blinded off, but it will definitely affect the play of the tournament. Okay, I went through that pretty fast because, this is our 5th tournament, but this is our last episode really before we're going to have the tournament. So just FYI, this is your final warning to go ahead and register. And again, we're looking forward to it. It's always
final
fun.
Warning.
Well, it is, right? That is.
It sounds so ominous. It's your final warning. If you don't do it now.
We contact everybody who didn't play in the tournament, right? We try to find out all the listeners. So what went wrong?
Yeah,
How come you didn't play?
What was your problem?
All right, that was pretty quick, Mike. Anything I missed, though, or anything?
No, nothing you missed. The main thing is just sign up for it. Come and play. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It goes fairly quick.
Yeah, it's fun. You don't have to be a great poker player. Honestly, the structure is such that it moves fairly quickly, so you need to get lucky along the way. There's no question about it. So
Right.
Yeah,
It doesn't take a huge amount of skill.
No.
Another nice thing is after you're eliminated, you can just stay online and watch the whole rest of the tournament.
Yeah, that is a nice thing.
It's a wonderful thing.
I think you and I are two of the few people who actually do that, because we're running the thing. But
if you have nothing else going on in your life, but to sit for an extra 3 hours and watch people you don't know play poker,
that is nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, and you can't see their whole cards. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. I don't think we've lied about this at all.
No, I don't. There's no lies.
It's all the truth.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. What I don't like is the lying. That it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I said it was kind of fun.
Yeah,
that's not a lie.
That's hard to argue with, right?
Yeah,
how do you quantify that? Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to some voicemails. First up is Brandon.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Brandon here. No longer from Colorado, living in Salt Lake now. Moved there for work, but it means I'm a little bit closer to Vegas. Hey, we're at the Bellagio right now on my birthday trip, and my wife just had her first hand pay, won about $1,300 at a slot machine. So she's been waiting for that for a while, and she's really excited. So I'll be passing along more information as the trip goes on. Dr. Mike, I hope you're enjoying Minnesota. And if you get a chance, I'm sure you've heard about it, sure you know about it, but get to Canterbury when you kind of watch the horses. It's where I learned how to handicap and played some limit poker. So anyway, thanks for the podcast, guys. As always, you're doing awesome. Keep it up. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Canterbury Park. I assume you haven't been. You would have mentioned it.
No, I haven't been, but it's in Shakopee. So I'd really like to go there just because of the name. Shakopee.
How far is it from you?
Yeah, it's about 2 hours and 45 minutes away.
Okay.
So
all right.
Not terrible. That's like driving to Minneapolis.
Yeah. And it's not just a racetrack. They've got poker and they've got some table games too. So
right. Yeah, eventually I'll get up there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to hear from Brandon a little bit later, see how his trip is going.
Oh, and by the way, Brandon, if he's in Salt Lake, then he can just drive down to the border there and go to
Wendover?
To Wendover.
Sure.
Yeah. And we've heard so many good things about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We haven't heard anything bad about Wendover.
Yeah. That'll have to be a weekly thing for Brandon.
Weekly thing for Brandon? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. If you're listening, Brandon, the gauntlet has been thrown down. All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. I have a story to share with you. I've been holding on through for a little while. I was at Foxwoods during the pandemic, and we were at a $10 craps table, and some guy comes up and buys in for about $60,000 right next to me and my friend. Bought in the middle of a roll, put out all of his bets, and he put something on the hard eight. And before we even rolled the dice, he asked the dealers to pay the hard eight. And sure enough, they paid the hard eight. It was for like $100 or $200. Took those winnings. Now they only paid it out for him, but took those winnings. And then we proceeded to start the next roll, and only his first roll on the table. He then looked at, about 10 minutes in, looked at my buddy and I and goes, hey, my family's coming to the table. We need to make some room for them. would you guys mind moving to the other side of the table? And mind you, the other side of the table was full already. And my buddy and I look at each other, and we're playing with about $100 and something in front of us. And we go, I don't know. And he's like, I'll make it worth your while. So we moved to the other side of the table. And sure enough, he made about $200 in bets for us in the next 3 or 4 rolls. I just think it's absolutely amazing that a casino would pay a hardway bet without the dice even being rolled. Let me know if you've heard about something like that before, because I am very interested. I have never heard of that happening. Cool. Thanks.
No, we've never heard of anything like that happening before.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know.
What would prompt that?
This is some high roller, obviously a regular, who has made some kind of deal with the casino. No, I've never heard of it, because you'd have to go through so many different people, right? Higher ups, certainly. The pit boss, all the dealers at the table? No.
Everyone would have to know. Yeah. Is it some kind of thing, you think, where a casino host made some arrangement, like if you're here, once a week and you gamble X amount of money, we're going to give you like a certain amount of money, and he just takes it by making a bet on the hard eight?
Well, yeah, see, that's the thing. Certainly there are loss rebates and, here, we'll give you some cash. But to pay a bet that hasn't actually won, no, we've never heard of that before.
In front of other people on the table.
Yeah, that's the real kicker, right? It's like, hey, how come I didn't get paid on the hard eight?
I know I didn't see any dice move, but come on, you're paying the hard eight.
Wow, no, that's a new one for us. Anybody else heard of it? Let us know.
Well, let me tell you this, too. If you're a big whale, why are you playing at a table with a bunch of other people? I mean, wouldn't you have your own table?
No, it depends on your personality, Mike. I mean, we've seen plenty of high rollers that like being at a crowded table.
Yeah, I guess. I'd like to know what the limits were on that table, because if...
well, I think it was like $10, isn't that? The caller said that he was only in for like $100 on the table, so...
Right. Well, I'm going to try that every time now. Just pay my hard eight.
Do that.
What?
Especially at the new casinos you go to, where you are. Right?
Security.
All right. Let's hear from Jack.
Hey, you can bet on that. This is Jack from Minneapolis, and this call is about bad superstitions at the craps table. And when I say bad superstitions, all I mean is superstition about what things are omens for bad events. For example, the adage that a first-time shooter will have a good roll, it's definitely superstitious, but it doesn't involve anything bad happening. And so this is apropos of the latest episode where Mark didn't win $10,000. And at the time I listened to that, I had also recently re-listened to episode 150, in which both Mark and Dr. Mike were livid after a clueless guy had bought in the middle of a good roll. And so listening to the tale of Mark's $2,400 four, I found myself being strangely gleeful that he missed out when his bets were off. And I like Mark, and so I had to ask myself, why do I consider people that play as if, the stick change causes a 7 out? Why do I consider those people to be the enemy? And I think it's because almost all of those superstitions are about assigning blame to an otherwise random event, and thus they cause a lot of the antagonism that I see at craps, which is otherwise the most jovial game in the house. The people at the craps table who believe in a laundry list of bad luck actions are often the same stereotypical grumpy blackjack player who always finds a way to play the victim. And so I'm not accusing Mark of believing in bad omens per se, and I'm definitely far from accusing Mark or Dr. Mike of being rude to other players at the table, because I know they don't do that, but I do think that type of superstitious thinking and behavior is more pervasive and insidious than a lot of us talk about. And so, for example, Mark's explanation of why he turns his bets off on the stick change or a dice off the table, it's never sat right with me. I mean, it's true that all else equal, it's good to reduce your exposure to a minus EV game. But I've always been flummoxed that his explanation never includes why he picked those specific events to be the triggers for turning off his bets. Like, if that's the exposure was truly all it was about, why not instead say turn your bets off for a roll every time the shooter makes 2 6s in a row, or every time they make 2 8s in a row? And I think the answer to that is, as gamblers, we do truly feel in our hearts that 2 6s in a row is a good thing, which begets more good. And conversely, we feel that anything interrupting the flow of the game is a quote-unquote bad thing, which begets more bad. And I definitely feel this way too, even though I know that all the rolls are independent events. And so my thesis is that it's healthier to take actions to disavow those feelings rather than lean into them. And so to Mark and Mike and to all the listeners out there, I'm here to speak out against these bad superstitions, like the concept that a cocktail waitress coming by will cause the 7 out, or the concept that the dice going off the table will cause a 7 out, or the concept that even more so than that, if they go off the table and you forget to ask for same dice, then that's going to cause even more 7 outs. I mean, all that nonsense is just bad vibes. And so if you're not superstitious, you should join me in promoting the good vibes and ignoring the bad ones. And that kind of just leads me to my last question, which is, where are all the good omen superstitions at craps? Like, everyone knows every little thing gone wrong brings a 7 out, but there's nothing really out there in the ether for good events happening. And so perhaps people just need to be more educated that 9 is the natural right back number. Anyway, thanks for taking my call. Bye.
Well spoken, Jack.
All right.
I love that.
Yeah, Jack holding me accountable. That was a good call.
That was a great call.
Yeah. Okay, something that we've said in the past is that when we gamble, we like to pretend that we're superstitious. Now, at face value, that sounds ridiculous, right? What a stupid thing to say. But here's the thing, Mike, I'm probably the biggest skeptic you know, don't you think? With kind of the way that I think, I'm like James Randi level skeptic, yeah?
Yeah, it's not even close, okay. Mark. You're the biggest, yeah.
Okay, so honestly, I am not superstitious. But and this is the absolute truth, one of the things I enjoy doing while gambling is pretending to be superstitious. So yeah, even though I've said, oh yeah, I'm reducing my exposure to a negative EV, okay, you're right. You called me on that. Is that really what I'm doing? No, I'm pretending to be superstitious. And here's the thing, I like it when, I called my bets off and I got saved. And I realize that if I call my bets off and there's a 7 out and everybody else loses, I realize there's hatred coming my way. Even from you, Dr. Mike, I know it. You're thinking, God, did I cause it? Or it's like, God, what? Every time, how come, I realize that. So I understand when it goes the other way, like in this absolutely huge way where I lost, quote unquote, $10,000, that people can be all excited and even gleeful about it. It's like, okay, he got his comeuppance. I understand.
Yeah. Here's a perfect example, Mark. And you've heard this a million times at Harris Rincon, where one of the dealers, it'll be a 7 out, and somebody walked by, some player or another dealer, and they'll just say, oh, always a 7 out when, Bill walks by.
Sure, right. Uh-huh.
And then sometimes the point will be made and they'll say, oh, there you go. Every time Bill walks by, a point's made.
Right.
That kind of thing. And they laugh about it. And they're really poking fun at all the people who say all the weird stuff. And I get a kick out of it because they always say, every time that, waitress walks by or whatever, there's always something. Yeah. And sometimes it's just stupid stuff, like every time they're yelling at the pie gow table.
Right. Yeah. Something. Every time that slot machine goes off.
Yeah. It's a 7 out. And they're just poking fun at it. I kind of get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. I agree with Jack, though. We should celebrate the good omens more.
Yeah, well, and it's, I guess, just in general, human nature, we're more likely to point out the negative things, especially when it comes to so-called luck.
Right.
And I can't really think of too many good omens at the craps table other than, like he said, like a novice shooter, right? Something like that.
Well, I have a few.
Okay, go ahead.
I wear a new shirt. When I wear a new shirt that's never been worn before, I seem to win that night.
Okay.
That's a good omen for me.
So do you tell everybody at the table, hey, it's a new shirt?
I've told you many times. I should tell other people.
All right. So I don't know that that's a generally accepted good omen at the craps table, but new shirt, new clothes, new underwear, that might be something.
Yeah, new underwear. Mm-hmm. I'm wearing the same socks as when I hit all those 4s.
Okay.
That kind of thing. There's a lot of clothes-related things that are important.
Yeah.
I feel in a good mood today. How about that's a good omen?
All right.
It's going to be a great day.
All right. I don't know if the only thing I can think of, and it's not so much on a craps table, I've seen it more at table games, is let's say somebody is at blackjack and they've been dealt blackjack like 3 out of the last 4 hands. And then they get up to go use the restroom or something. And people, oh, you're leaving right now? Are you crazy? Can I take your spot?
Right.
So that maybe that's something where people think, okay, there's good luck. At the table. But yeah, I can't really think of
Well, I'll
many
tell
more
you what,
things.
let's open it up. Have people call or email us with what they think brings them good luck.
Okay, yeah. So
And we'll make a list and we'll try and hit all those every time.
we'll make a
Right?
list. So
Or we'll look for the shooter who fills in most of the good luck categories.
all right. So
And then we'll bet big on him.
events that really, if you think about it, have no effect on the outcome of these games, what of those things are kind of generally accepted to be good luck? And yeah, we'll see if we can cover it, because there are plenty of bad luck things, like Jack said. So
yeah, well, all the bad luck things, I mean, that's just superstition, except there is one that is definitely proven. When your host comes to talk to you while you're shooting.
Oh, yeah. It
can be a 7 out immediately.
Off.
Yeah. I mean, that one, we have verified evidence of that.
Yeah, that's just smart gambling.
Right.
All right. Next call.
Mark and Dr. Mike, this is Panay from Biloxi, Mississippi. I happen to be out in Southern California on business. I said, I got to make a pilgrimage to where you guys play. So I went down to the Harrah's Resort there. I was pleasantly surprised at how nice it was. And I hadn't played dice in a long time. So I went down to the table and I was so confused at those cards. I don't know how y'all deal with that, but turns out it ended up being good because the first roll guy rolls however they figured an 8, and the next roll comes up 6-1. I said, oh no, I already lost 0.7 out on the first one. He goes, no sir, you won. I was like, oh, okay, whatever you say, yes sir. Next roll, again, hit a 6. He rolled a 4-3. I was like, oh man, I lost again. He says, no sir, you actually won again. So it ended up being a great trip. I still can't, the cards are a little bit annoying because, it takes an extra half a second versus just listening, but all in all, it was great because I went up to the table. It was a Wednesday evening, so it wasn't very busy. And I said, I'm here because of Mark and Dr. Mike podcast. Did they ever come down and play? And they had all kinds of great stories, man. They love you guys. Anyway, thanks. Have a great day.
Panesh, when we went to the casino, they actually told us that you were asking about us. They said, oh, yeah, there was a player you're asking about. So
William, the dealer William. First thing he said is, there's a guy asking about you the other night.
So, we knew about your trip.
Yep, we already knew.
Well, hopefully, again, vote yes on Prop 26, and those cards will go away.
If only.
I'm not so confident anymore. Before I was saying, oh, that one's going to pass. But it's going to be a brutal battle, I think.
Yeah. And how many people out there don't even understand or care about any of that?
Right.
They might not even vote on it, Mark.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Some people just skip it. They don't understand it. They just skip it. I mean, it's a weird proposition.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from Brandon again, see how his trip's going.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, it's Brandon again. Just wanted to finish up my trip report. My wife didn't get any more hand pays, but she did hit a couple $200, $250 wins on the slots, so she did really well on this trip. As for me, the craps playing was a grind for the most part. A few wins here, a few wins there, losses here, losses there. But it did get me thinking. I actually listened to the podcast where Mark took all his bets down, and like Dr. Mike, I was laughing as I was listening to it because I think we've all been there with our superstitions, and maybe it works out or maybe it burns us. But Mark, it got me thinking, what are your other superstitions that you have at the table? I personally have one. If it hits somebody's hands but does not result in a 7, I will take my bets down to give the dice a universal chance to cool off, as it were. I know that sounds weird, but it's my thing. Also, after a point gets hit, if I have a drink in front of me, I'll step back from the table, take a sip of it, and then step back to the table. I know that sounds weird, but that's my thing. So anyway, guys, thanks again for all that you do. And like I said, Dr. Mike, I hope you get to check out Canterbury before the season's over. Take care.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to this, even though here I'm saying, I'm such a rational person, right? I'm rational thinking and everything, but I love gambling on games with negative EV. So is that a contradiction? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it is.
That's the way I'm wired, right? Even if you're a rational person, you still got emotions and you might enjoy whimsical diversions. And so gambling is mine. So again, I don't take these superstitions seriously. He's asking about any others. The only thing I can think of is if there is some sort of dispute or argument at the table, especially if it's an abusive player, I won't just call my bets off. I'll say, take all my bets down, I'm leaving. I don't know if that's a superstition as much as just not liking to be in the uncomfortable situation. But
yeah, that's more of a decision based on this is no fun for me. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I can't think of any other superstitions that I pretend to have where I would call my bets off. Like cocktail, that was never one for me. Oh, the cocktail waitress came by or anything like that. Do you have any, Mike?
Well, no, you've never seen me turn my bets off, have you?
Well, but I know that you also like to pretend to be superstitious because there are plenty of times where somebody will buy in the middle of the roll, 7 out, and you'll be furious.
Yeah, I joke around with all that stuff. I really don't care. You know what buying in the middle for me is, Mark? You know I like a fast game.
Yeah, it's more the sort of, you
for
like
me,
the
it's just
rhythm
more that
of it.
pisses me off that it has to stop and slow down.
Right.
I know it doesn't matter. I mean, the next roll could be the point, whatever, or it could be a 7. But, I just don't like the game slowing down.
Yeah.
I'm going to put one thing out there. Let's think about this for a minute. If the world was created so that everybody in it was rational thinking all the time, never did anything spontaneous or fun or weird, it would be such a boring world.
Oh, yeah.
I love that people are superstitious or that think this or think that. Doesn't mean I agree with them. I just love that the world is like that. Because, that's what makes it fun is, what people do and what sets them off or doesn't set them off. Or I just think there's a place for superstition and there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, Mike, Dostoevsky once talked about the difference between reason and desire and said that, often desire overpowers reason. And, that's what makes people human. Hey, don't you like me dropping that reference? When's the last time you heard about Dostoevsky on the show? Wait, the only reason I'm coming up with it, I just recorded a podcast with Tim. We were talking about the Gambler movies, the 2 Gambler movies. There's the one with James Caan from the 70s and the one with Mark Wahlberg from about 8 years ago. And the first one, he quotes Dostoevsky. And I thought, okay, so there you go.
Perfect lead-in. That wasn't planned, everybody.
Yeah, this is not, don't worry, this is not what this show is going to become.
Well, the point is that, variety is really the spice of life. You can be the most analytical, straightforward person in the world, and I guarantee you there's something in your life that goes beyond reason, doesn't make sense, but you do it anyway.
Yeah, life's rich pageant, Dr. Mike.
Yes. So there you go. Celebrate the weirdness in other people. I'm the only one who's not strange, Mark.
I can guarantee that's true, everybody. All right, last call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Vaughn from LA. I just got back from a solo trip in Vegas. Great trip. I was able to win $3K at the tables on my first day, which would be the biggest win by far of my life. But I never get too excited about my craps wins early in a trip. I'm not there to win $3K. I'm there to play craps and press from the table minimum to the table max. I get way more out of a thrill and satisfaction about pressing than I do about my winnings. I'm all about that mid-press, baby. Never take me down, never take me off, or same bet. That's why I love this game. So I have a couple stories. I'm primarily a 6 and 8 place better and will sometimes pass the dice if the limits are higher. However, I'm pretty mindful if there's a high roller on the table, especially if they're betting high on the bonus, because of what I like to call hidden high roller tip positive EV. I know that if I hit the bonus, there's a very good chance I'm getting tipped by that high roller. So the dice get passed to me. I turn to the high roller and say, I'm about to make you a lot of money, sir. Turning on the charm and setting expectations, and he just kind of smiles and nods at me. Sure enough, I hit the all. He drops me a black, and I give some of that to the dealers. Just letting listeners know that there's no house edge on sucking up to high rollers. There was a couple of characters on the trip. I rolled up to a table, and I stand next to a gentleman who grinned and said I missed his 20-minute roll and saw that the dealer was kind of like, whatever, this guy. I didn't realize that was because each of his rolls took 30 seconds. He would spin the dice. Then he would flip the dice. Then he would tap the table twice, then wipe his hand on a rag that he carried. He would proceed to do this 3 more times before throwing. Equally infuriating was the fact that his only bet was a $5 don't pass, and that's it. He would only bet when he was shooting. The rest of the time, he was milling about the table, smoking, giving bad advice to new players, and taking up a spot that people were waiting for. After a couple of hours of this nonsense, the dice get passed to him, and the pool table has just had it with him. The pit warns him that he has to throw faster if he wants to shoot. He does this whole routine and proceeds to throw both dice off the table 3 times in a row on the come out before the pit had enough and made him pass the dice. He makes this big scene like he's a victim and wanting pity from the players, but we were all like, bye. And he ends up like sulking away. I don't know how you can play like that, waiting around for that long for a single $5 don't pass bet. The best case scenario is that he sevens out and has to pass the dice. I had to reluctantly play at a crapless craps at Planet Hollywood, and I just refused to shoot if I ever do that. However, it got me thinking about the fire bet on crapless craps and how much Dr. Mike would love that. Assuming you kept a house edge of 21%, what would that payout look like? Would you want the higher payout on the lower hits, or would you want the 10th point to be all the money in the casino? I don't know how to calculate those odds, but I'm sure they'd be the longest shot in the casino. Do you guys have any idea what those odds would look like? Would this make Dr. Mike like crapless craps? Finally, I ended up $1,500 on the trip, and only now I'm able to count my winnings. And just a reminder to your listeners to never same bet. Even if it's just going up $5, never same bet. Go win you a casino. Thanks, guys.
Okay, there you go. There's an example of somebody. That's the way he likes to play.
That's
right?
the way he
More
likes to
power
play,
to
yeah.
him. Just press.
Well, it makes
never
it
same bet.
fun for him, obviously. I don't know. Most people are going to freak out about that.
Well, and it could your night could end pretty quickly, too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you want to have a short night, I love that player that went through all the routine.
Oh,
and
my
everything.
gosh. With just a $5 don't pass bet, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that would be a very annoying player at the table.
That's a very annoying player. It's a perfect example of the variety of life, Mark.
Yeah, that's right. The good and the bad.
The bad, right. It got me thinking, though, because I think what I'm going to do from now on, when you and I are together, I'm going to go through this big rigmarole of gestures and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to step back from the table. And you'll have a towel that you'll pull out of your pocket, and you'll come over and you'll like pat my face down, like, like I'm sweating too much. And then I'll step back to the table and just pick the dice up and throw them as hard as I can.
Oh my God. That's such a great idea, Mike. We should choreograph this whole thing.
Yeah,
when you get the dice, practice at home, have it all ready to go. Oh, that's a great idea.
Pat me down like you're my corner man.
That's right. All right. We'll work on that. When you're out here next month, we'll work on that.
Just randomly do it. Oh, the dealers would get a kick out of
they'd
that.
love that. Yeah. Well, Vaughn's talking about the possibility of a fire bet on a crapless craps table, where there are 10 potential points. That would be.
I don't think I'd like that.
No, well, the thing is, hitting all 10, I mean, it would never happen in your lifetime, right? I didn't go through the math. I might do it eventually, sort of like an academic exercise, because it would be interesting. And there would have to be different payouts, going all the way up to 10 points total.
Right.
But that's, oh my gosh, the chances of that have to be just so astronomical.
Can you imagine? You got 9 and all you need is a 12. You need a point of 12.
Yeah, you need to establish a point of 12 and make a point of 12.
And make a point of 12,
yeah, maybe I'll figure that someday. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. Robin from NE Time Gambling, Nathan, Brian Dancer, Brian and Sarah, Josh, and the Crap Vegas podcast. Thank you for those recurring donations. Did you mention that Josh and Chris might be coming out your way soon?
Yes, I'm going to talk about that after we get through with all these things.
Oh, okay. I'll wait till the end then here. We also got a donation from Thomas. He said, these were the proceeds from the bet on the Padres Twins over 7.5 points. Yeah, Thomas contacted us and said, should I just make a donation or should I put money down on the baseball game for you? And of course we said, oh, we want action. So he put it down on the Padres Twins game on the points over 7.5. The Padres ended up winning the game 10-1, so we won that bet. Thank you very much. Ha ha! Padres beat the Twins, Mike. Ha ha! Ha ha!
The Padres are barely hanging on to a playoff spot.
Yeah, let's not talk about them at the end of the
Let's not
show.
talk about last night's game.
No,
either.
let's not talk.
Oh my
All right.
God.
Also, we got a donation from Alex. Hoping this dono gives me and my buddies some good karma in Vegas, August 12th through the 15th. Keep up the good work, fellas. I'll make some bets for you guys while I'm there and pass along any winnings. Well, thank you very much, Alex. Hopefully you had a good trip.
Yes.
Also, a donation from Jason. Heading to Vegas for the weekend. 22 is my lucky number. Oh, okay. So there you go.
Huh.
That's great. There's so many ways to bet 22 in Vegas, right? You can do it on the roulette table. You could do like a hard 4.
Oh, Keno. Just
Keno. Right.
right.
So, it's a good number. Well, good luck, Jason. Also, a donation from Christopher. Karma donation for my second ever Vegas trip this weekend. I got wiped out last time, so I need some luck. Thanks for your show. I appreciate the tips on playing your own game and handling losses. Well, thank you, Christopher, and good luck. Hopefully you have a good trip.
Gosh, I hope he wins.
Yeah.
2 trips without a win. That might be a downer.
Well, especially
I think
they're
he needs
your
to
only.
win.
Yeah, it's really
They're your only
the first
trips,
few
yeah.
trips to Vegas. You should at least have one win. So I
Right,
would hope so.
exactly. One good win.
Yeah. Also, a donation from Mike. Karma donation for Turning Stone Resort. Oh, good. Hopefully you have good luck there. And finally, a donation from Morton. First Karma donation, heading to Vegas Tuesday, August 16th. Hopefully this gets me over the hump to roll the ATS. Been one number away 10 plus times, so we know
Oh,
that.
my gosh.
Yeah. I'll give a trip report. Should I roll it? Thanks for all you guys do. Go Stros. Go Stros.
Oh,
Well, I
boy.
guess they're American League. I guess we can say go Stros.
Yeah, we
even
can
after
do
all the
that.
cheating and everything. Okay. Well, hopefully you had a good trip, Morton. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512 wagers.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. All right, take it away, Dr. Mike.
Well, I got a few things to say, Mark. First off, listener Michael James and I are going to meet up tomorrow at Ho Chunk Casino in Baraboo.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck for that.
Yeah, and my wife's going along too. So, yeah, we've talked many times, but we've never met. So we're going to meet up there. Hopefully we'll have some good luck. I'll have a report on that on the next trip.
Great. Excellent.
And I also wanted to say that on Veterans Day this year,
November 11th.
That's a Friday. So on that weekend, 11, 12, and 13, Chris and Josh from the Crap Vegas podcast are going to come out here.
Okay.
And hopefully you are too.
Yeah. So you just mentioned that to me the other day. As soon as you sent me the text, Sherry said, go for it. So, that's great. So
It'll just be a fun weekend. And, people have it off. I assume a lot of people have it off for Veterans Day. I have it off.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to decide what casino we're going to meet at because there's no casinos around here that are in a big group where there's 4 or 5 casinos, right? So we have to meet at one, but we might be able to drive to another one since I have a vehicle here and stuff.
Oh, you've got a vehicle there. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that you actually took one with you when you moved to Minnesota, Dr. Mike.
A big vehicle.
Oh, okay. A big
seats 9
vehicle.
people.
All right.
So we can go wherever we want.
Wow.
So anyone listening who wants to meet us, there'll be details coming more like sometime in October.
Good.
But keep that weekend open because, we're going to head here or maybe spend a weekend at some casino, maybe drive to another one even.
Great.
For a day, something like that. They're a couple hours apart each, but
Sure.
it goes by so fast when you're, with a group. So, that's going to be a really fun time, I think.
Good. Fantastic.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is, getting back to that variety of life and all the odd things or superstitions or whatever you want to call it
Yes,
that people
Dr. Mike.
do. I went a couple days ago, Mark, to get my Minnesota driver's license.
Okay, good.
Changed my California to Minnesota. And we had to change the license plates and actually get new IDs.
Oh,
and
right.
it's a long process. And so Lynn and I are there, and the lady who helped us, which was excellent, we had a ton of stuff to do. It took quite a while, but she was very efficient at her job. So she goes to take my picture. And she's like, okay, look right here and do this and do that. And I said, oh my God, if I had known I was going to be doing this today, I would have shaved my eyebrows off. And she laughed so hard, Mark, for like 10 minutes later, she was still giggling about that. And my wife's just totally embarrassed.
Yeah, good. That's one of the reasons you do it.
That's one of the reasons I do it. My only regret is my daughters weren't there to embarrass them to death.
right, well,
the woman, I'm sorry. That's what life's all about.
Minnesota
right?
is getting the Dr. Mike treatment finally.
Yeah, finally they're getting the. That'll probably be the talk of this town. I mean, it'll be around town in a few minutes. Anyway, I just thought, I'd love to do stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. All right, well, good. That'll do it, everybody. We'll see you at the poker tournament, and thanks for listening.
thanks. Bye.
Mike, Mark, that was wonderful. I had no idea you were so talented. The audience is going to love you.